Welcome back to DarkNight Whispers. Tonight I'm taking you to Stillwater Ridge, a mountain town whose only road winds up through fir forests so thick the headlights feel like flashlights in a cave. The story begins at an abandoned ranger station and ends well. I'll let you decide where it ends. Before we start, hit the like button, subscribe if you crave more full-length horror, and comment afterward. Would you answer if the forest itself knocked on your door? No, settle in. This one takes time to climb. Madison Mads Rourke didn't plan on a mountain road at sunset. She was chasing an interview in Boise, map apps fighting for signal, when a landslide blocked State 93. The detour sign looked unofficial spray-painted plywood that simply said, "Out route with a shaky arrow towards Stillwater Ridge." Mads drove a battered Subaru with 2 blown speakers and 1 working headlight. She told herself that bones-rattling shortcuts built character. Besides, the interview wasn't until 3 p.m. tomorrow. She could afford the scenic route. 15 minutes up the detour, daylight drained faster than her confidence. The road narrowed, pavement turning to washboard gravel. Fir branches slapped her windshield like wet towels. When she finally saw a clearing and a cluster of dark buildings, she exhaled. An old Forest Service compound, 3 structures: a cedar shingled office, a 2-story bunkhouse, and a fire lookout tower with metal stairs spiraling into cloud. Everything looked shuttered decades ago. Yet a single porch bulb glowed by the office door. The Subaru coughed, sputtered, and died. Battery icon red. Mads cursed her luck, popped the hood, saw nothing she understood. Phone. 1 bar, then none. Wind combed the trees. The mountain seemed to lean in, listening. The office door stood ajar. Mads pushed it wider, calling, "Hello?" Her voice disappeared into dust motes. Inside, maps tacked to corkboards, desks littered with water-stained logs, the smell of pine sap and something older mica dust maybe. She flicked light switches. Nothing. The single bulb outside hummed on a generator she hadn't heard. Wires snaked in from the porch, but she couldn't trace their source. A radio sat on the front desk, military green, its antenna snapped. Fingering curiosity over caution, Mads hit power, static. She spun the dial. More static than a pop and a voice, thin as floss. "Alpha Ridge, do you copy? Know your marker." No call letters, just a man's strained whisper. She replied, "This is a traveler at Stillwater. Car died. Anyone there?" Silence, then a faint tap-tap like knuckles on wood. When she stepped onto the porch, the forest had turned violet with night. The bulb above the door flickered and brightened, casting a circling moth storm of white wings. Something knocked 3 deliberate raps from somewhere inside the compound. She pivoted. The bunkhouse. Windows were black mirrors. Knock again closer. She realized it came from the lookout tower's steel base. Clank, 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 as if someone struck hollow metal. "Ranger?" She tried. The only answer, 3rd series of 3 knocks, each louder. She hurried back to the office, lunged at the radio. "Someone's out there. Is this a prank?" This time the radio hissed like boiling water, then, "Don't open if it knocks." The words strained, syllables warped but clear. She dropped the mic. On a desk lay a large bound ledger, Stillwater Ridge incidents. Entries from 1978 to 1993, ink faded. October 12, 1981, routine patrol. Heard door knock at 2217. Station secured. No personnel outside. November 3rd, 1986. Trainee R. Velasquez reported knocking from inside tool shed. Found prints, no shoe tread, no boot, just bare feet. Snow on ground, no melt. May 9th, 1991. Ranger Ellison failed to respond after knock sequence. Located next day, missing eyes and tongue, standing upright in tower stairwell. Door to tower locked from outside. Eyes still watching. Filed. The rest of that line smeared beyond legibility. Mad slammed the book shut. Her pulse hammered behind her eardrums. Outside, a single knock landed on the office door behind her. Thump. She froze. Another knock plate, 3 inches above the brass handle. Only a pane of plywood between her and something. Phone still dead. Radio silent. Instead of answering, Mads found a back door and slipped out, circling toward the bunkhouse. If anyone remained, they might help. Porch steps sagged under her boots. Inside, bunk frames lay stripped, dust thick enough to preserve sneaker imprints from decades before. In the communal bathroom, she washed sweat from her face. The faucet juddered but spat brown water. When she looked up, the mirror reflected not her own stall, but the hallway behind someone standing there. A silhouette, genderless, too tall, head brushing the lintel. The figure lifted a hand, knocked gently on thin air. Tap. She whipped around nothing. In the reflection, the stall door now stood open, though she remembered closing it. The figure gone. Yet the knocks came from every surface. Metal pipes, wooden joists, porcelain sinks. A Morse code forest of raps and taps. Fleeing, she snagged a folded field map from a bunk's footlocker and darted outside. Wind howled down the ridge, dragging needles across tin roofs like a million claws. The map showed roads that no longer existed, trails erased by logging, but one path led downhill toward a creek and a ranger cabin marked Alpha, 15 minutes on foot. If she reached occupied quarters, she could phone for a tow. She packed essentials into a day pack, pocketed her car keys out of habit, and stepped onto the gravel. Behind her, the compound doors all stood open, the office, the bunkhouse, even the tower hatch she'd never touched. From each doorway came a faint echo, 3 beats in unison. Knock dash, knock dash, knock. Not answering, she muttered and jogged for the tree line. Moonlight filtered through needles. The trail switchbacked steeply. Mads's breath fogged an air suddenly colder. Footfall crunch, heartbeat in ears, and from somewhere behind, always the same triple knock, repeating every 100 yards. Twice she swung her flashlight back. Twice. Only trees, yet the sound came from closer each time. Halfway down, she tripped over a metal signpost toppled in moss. Alpha Ridge Cabin 0.5 me. Another sign lay flat. This one newer, reading restricted zone. Splintered green paint crusted its edges like dried algae. Knock dash, knock dash, knock dot ahead. Unbelievably, she quickened pace. The cabin appeared around a bend larger than she expected. Lights on inside. Relief swelled. She banged the door frame, called out. A voice yelled back, "Hold on." Door unlatched, revealing a man in Forest Service green mid-30s, flashlight and rifle in hand. Badge, Ranger R. Velasquez, the same trainee from the 86 entry, but he looked far too young. "Are you active duty?" she stammered. Inside, the cabin smelled of campfire and wet wool. He handed her a mug of something sweet and hot. "I radioed base for a tow truck," he said, like scripted courtesies. "Signals weak tonight?" Mads's eyes adjusted. The cabin interior was immaculate too immaculate. Shelves lined with identical field guides. A calendar on the wall, May 1993, pristine, pinholes unbent. On the desk sat a Polaroid camera. Photos pinned above showed the same ranger in slightly different poses, never aged. You Velasquez? Weren't you Kea? Yeah, he said softly, finishing for her. Or so the report will read. Something behind his courteous smile felt brittle, like glass about to spider crack. From the cabin ceiling rafters came the knock sequence, 3 hollow drum beats, then silence. Velasquez's eyes darkened. He set down the mug. It's here. What is it? We called it the silence. Some call it the census. Counts what's alive, collects what answers. He retrieved a spool of thick rope and a metal barbell. We move. They left the cabin lights burning. Velasquez insisted the silence likes occupied spaces. As they ascended, he explained in clipped whispers. Some forest event, 20 years ago, let a void entity slip between echoes. It knocked like a ranger checking cabins. Any reply verbal or by opening doors, let it measure your outline, mimic you, then hollow you out. Why hollow? So it fits inside. Mads felt cold spread up her spine. You're alive, though. I never answered, he said. But my partner did. Cabin needed 2 signatures. He touched the Polaroid camera, and it took his reflection first. The knocks followed them, now muffled by soil-like underground hands against coffin lids. Velasquez shook the barbell. Tiny chime answered. Noise confuses it. Silence is its language, he said. Air smelled like ozone. Clouds closed the moon. They reached the compound. Every door still yawning wide. Close them, Velasquez ordered. It can't cross thresholds uninvited. They slammed doors office, bunkhouse, while the tower metal echoed with invisible hammering. Last, the Subaru. Hood still open. She slammed that too. The knocking stopped. Only the lookout tower remained. Its hatch sat open, ladder slick with night dew. Knock came once more inside, high above. Velasquez cursed. It nested. He dragged chains from the equipment shed, padlock in fist. Seal the hatch. Then we burn the steps. Mads hesitated. Burn the tower. Isn't that? Built fireproof steel. We try the stench out. It hates light, heat, fire. They ascended halfway, chains clinking. Wind moaned through angle iron trusses. Knock knock above, but slower, heavier. Velasquez whispered, It knows we're listening. As they neared the hatch, a voice drifted down hers. Madison? Please help. She froze. The voice was perfect, tinged with her own fear. Velasquez pressed finger to lips. New voice, a small boy's cry. Ranger, I'm lost. Velasquez flinched. Ignore, he hissed. The hatch slammed shut above them, though no one visible touched it. Bolts ratcheted from within. Steel groaned. The tower flexed an impossible vibration. Mads felt like a tuning fork. The silence after each groan hung so thick her ears rang. Velasquez shouted, You can't have us. Instantly, knock, knock, knock. From inside the ladder rails, from rivets, from her own skull echo chambers, the ranger hurled the barbell up the ladder. It clanged, ricocheted, breaking hush. Then the vibrations eased. Fire, he said. They descended to ground, soaked rags in diesel, wrapped step supports. Velasquez struck a flare. Orange bloom roared skyward. Flames climbed, paint blistering. The knocks became furious, pounding overhead, traveling down, meeting heat. Screams of the metal twisting, hard to parse. Tower top erupted in shattering glass. Black smoke spiraled, carrying shapes, silhouettes flapping like burnt film frames. Mads backed away, eyes watering. Velasquez stood firm, whispering names: partner, mother, child. Perhaps a litany to keep memory separate from mimic. Dawn carved the ridge with rose light. The tower still smoked, steps warped beyond climbable. Compound doors remained shut. No knocks. The Subaru started on first crank. Velasquez handed her the Polaroid camera. If it tries again, photo keeps it busy like faces. You run. He offered no escort. His task, he said, was to keep the ridge silent until official crews arrived. Mads drove away. In rearview mirror, the ranger station receded into rising mist. Half a mile down, she slammed brakes. The tower still visible through trees, but its top unburned, intact. From the Polaroid camera in her passenger seat came a sound. Click whir. A photo slid out, though she'd pressed nothing. The image developed fast. Tower, dawn smoke, and at the window, her own face staring back, eyes hollow, mouth O-shaped in a silent knock. Back in city bustle, Mads recounts her tale to mechanics, friends, a skeptical podcast host. The Subaru passes every diagnostic, battery connections tight. She mails the Polaroid to a paranormal archive. It never arrives. Each night she dreams of triple knocks, but wakes to traffic horns until tonight. When horns are absent, apartment completely silent. On her kitchen counter sits a Polaroid camera she never unpacked. It ejects another photo. Her apartment door, framed today. The knob indenting outward, as if something inside wants out. Then, knock, knock, knock. She backs away, remembering the ranger's rule. Don't open if it knocks. Nearby neighbors pound walls. Keep it down. But she hasn't made a sound. Her phone buzzes unknown caller. Against instinct, she answers. Static, then her own voice flat, distant. May I come in now? Across the apartment, door handle turns. Latch unclicks. The final rule rises in her memory, clearer than heartbeat. Silence is its language. Noise is its chain. She screams wordless. Primal grabs a saucepan, hammers wall, stove, counter. Clamor fills the room. Door handle stills. Polaroid camera whines, taking shots of empty space. She screams until voice breaks, until neighbors call actual police. Knocking ceases. Flashers tint her apartment blue-red. Officers find no trespasser, only a woman clutching a camera and a pot, hoarse beyond speech. They take her statement, unconvinced. Yet in the hallway security footage, between frames, a figure appears. Tall, head brushing ceiling. Hand raised to knock vanishing when apartment erupts in noise. The Stillwater Ridge Tower has been refitted with motion lights and failsafe alarms. But local dispatch records continue to log late-night calls. Raspy voices requesting ranger assistance, lying dead after 3 knocks in background. Somewhere in a city apartment, Madison Rourke sleeps by day, and by night pounds drum solos on cookware until sunrise. She knows the silence counts in 3s. She knows if she ever stops making noise, it will finish the census it began in the Cedar Woods. And in your own room, if you wake to a polite triple rap, no more, no less ask yourself, did something call your name first? If it did, don't answer. Because once you speak the silence's language, it might speak with your voice forever. Would you keep banging pots all night to stay alive? Tell me below. If this extended trip into Stillwater chilled you, hit like, subscribe to DarkNight Whispers, and share with someone who believes forests are always quiet. Until next time, May every knock at your door come with a friendly voice on the other side.